She claimed a random man is harassing me. But when I called him, he said, she comes to me for everything. So I ended the bills, ended the lease, walked out, and she was left alone when he blocked her. The first time she said someone was bothering her, I believed her. We'd been together 3 years, and most nights felt steady. My name is James. I am 34. She made our life feel simple. Small changes came quietly. Her phone buzzed. She kept it face down. Once she pulled away when I reached for her hand and said she needed space because something made her nervous. I didn't press. For a while, I'm fine was enough. One evening, she woke me and said a man was sending messages that made her uneasy. She showed me a cropped screenshot, the sender hidden. Her thumb hovered when I asked to see more. She said she didn't want to make a scene and used privacy as a reason. After that, I noticed other things. She left room to take calls. She deleted history when I stood nearby. A contact would appear briefly, then vanish. When I asked, she gave short answers. It's nothing, or I forgot. Those replies used to calm me. Now they felt like distance. I wanted to trust her. I tried to let space be space, but the half-clues built into a quiet pattern. Late replies, sudden trips with friends, and photos she said she had but couldn't find. The small contradictions kept returning. I avoided accusations. I told myself to wait for a clear answer. Still, a different kind of worry grew in me, patient and cold. I started noticing where she hid things. I learned which folders she never opened when I was near and which apps she locked. She softened sometimes. She asked for support with stress and accepted it. But whenever I asked for a name or a number, she closed the screen. Once she showed another cropped message with a timestamp and pulled the phone away when I reached. Please don't make this a thing, she said. The oddest part was that she seemed more afraid of me knowing than of the man she said was bothering her. That thought settled into me. I decided I would seek facts quietly, not to start a fight, but to find the truth. One night, she slept, and I went through places she kept private. Old drafts, archived messages, notes. Hidden in a draft was a phone number, just digits, no name. I copied it into my phone and stared at it. My hand didn't shake. I felt a clarity I hadn't had in weeks. Calling could destroy what we had if I was wrong. It could also confirm what my gut suspected. I promised myself one call. I would listen and nothing else. I would not raise my voice. I would not beg. I just wanted an answer that couldn't be blurred by cropped screens or careful words. I sat at the kitchen table with the phone to my ear. The house was silent except for the refrigerator. I thought about mornings of coffee and quiet talks, the small promises we had made to each other. None of those promises mentioned hiding messages. As the line connected, I scanned the details that now looked sharp. The time she left the apartment, the receipt I didn't know about, the way she laughed at certain texts and then looked away. These things were still only hints, but they had weight. The man paused like he already understood why I called. His voice stayed calm, almost too calm. He asked who I was. I said my name, nothing more. He sighed in a way that felt practiced, like he had been waiting for this moment. Then he said words that didn't sound real at first. So, you're the one she goes home to. I didn't answer. He continued before I could even pull in a breath. She talks about you. Says you're steady. Says you make life easier for her. But she also said you two don't have the connection she wants. I held the phone tighter and kept my voice level. No yelling. No anger. Just listening. He talked like he wasn't ashamed at all. He said they'd been seeing each other for months. He said she came to him when she wanted fun, comfort, or something real. He said she asked him about marriage last month and that they were together 5 days ago. Every sentence landed plainly, as if he were telling me the weather, not dismantling 3 years of my life. I asked him to repeat one detail, only once. He didn't hesitate. He even sent a batch of photos within minutes. Them at a diner I knew well, them in a parking lot, screenshots of late-night chats. Her voice notes. Messages where she told him she missed him. Messages she claimed were from a harassing man. I didn't react. I didn't respond to him. I just set the phone down on the table and sat there with the screen lit up beside my hand. Part of me expected to cry or break or do something dramatic. Instead, I felt calm, like a long argument had finally ended inside me. Her story had never been about harassment. It had been a cover, something flimsy she hoped I wouldn't question. I walked back to the bedroom. She was asleep, breathing steadily, unaware. Her phone sat charging on the nightstand. I didn't touch it yet. I already had enough proof to know what my next steps were. I sat on the edge of the bed for a moment. I thought about how she once held my arm during storms, how she used to tell me she felt safe with me. I used to believe her. I believed everything she said until the half screenshot started. I stood up and went to the living room, opened my laptop, and made the changes I knew I would need. Bank accounts, subscriptions, passwords, shared plans. I wasn't wiping her out of my life. I was separating mine from hers. Quietly. By the time she woke up around 7, I had already packed a few clothes in my car. I wasn't leaving forever, not yet. I wanted to see how she handled the truth. She walked into the living room, rubbing her eyes, her hair messy from sleep. She gave me a small smile that felt too normal. "Why are you up so early?" she asked. I looked at her for a moment. I didn't yell. I simply said, "We need to talk." Right then, she stiffened. Not confused, just alert. Like she already knew what I found, but hoped I hadn't found all of it. "What's wrong?" she asked, but her voice lacked warmth. It sounded rehearsed. I showed her the photos he sent. That was enough. Her face went pale. Her hand covered her mouth. She didn't deny the photos at first. She didn't even try to explain. She just stared at them like she recognized the moment her lies ran out of road. When she finally spoke, her voice was small. "James, I can explain. Please, just give me a chance." I stayed completely still. I wanted to see which story she would try first: denial, excuses. And I didn't have to wait long. Because she started with the worst one. "He's lying. He edited these. I don't know why he's doing this." She kept repeating the same line, "He's lying," as if saying it enough times would somehow turn the photos into illusions. She pointed at the timestamps, the lighting, even the angle of one picture, trying to convince me someone had edited everything to frame her. The desperation wasn't loud. It came out rushed and shaky, like she was scrambling to outrun her own steps. I didn't interrupt her. I just watched her shift from one explanation to another. First denial, then confusion, then anger. "Why would you even call some random number?" she snapped. "Why would you go through my things?" Her frustration wasn't about betrayal. It was about losing control of the story. I kept my voice steady. "Because you kept hiding everything, and I needed the truth." She opened her mouth again, but no words came. She pressed her fingers to her temples and shook her head, then turned away like she needed distance to think. When she looked back at me, her expression had already changed again, this time softer, almost gentle. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I messed up, but it wasn't what he told you. You know how manipulative people can be. Maybe I vented to him sometimes, but I never meant for anything to happen." I didn't respond. I pulled up one of the voice notes he sent. Her voice played through the speaker, clear as day, laughing as she talked about meeting him, thanking him for the weekend, saying she missed him already. She reached out fast to grab the phone, but I pulled it back. That's when the truth hit her. Nothing she said could bend this back into her shape. Her shoulders dropped. She didn't cry yet. She just looked empty. The face someone makes when they realize their story collapsed before they could rewrite it. She sat down on the couch, rubbing her hands together. "Okay," she whispered. "Fine. Yes, I saw him. But it wasn't serious. Months of messages said otherwise." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse her of every detail. Instead, I explained what I had already done. I told her I had separated my finances. I told her I had removed her from the plans I paid for. I told her I had packed enough clothes to stay somewhere else for a while. Her eyes widened at that. Real fear, not guilt. "Please don't go," she said, moving closer. "I can fix this. I'll block him. I'll delete everything. Just don't leave like this." I stepped back. Leaving wasn't the revenge. Not yet. I wanted her to face the world she built. The lies, the double life. The man who didn't even care enough to hide their messages. I wanted her to sit with all of it. I handed her the charger from the table. She looked confused until she unlocked her phone and saw what I had done. I hadn't gone through her entire device. I didn't need to. I had only done one thing. I forwarded every message from her secret folder to her own email. Her inbox was full of the truth she kept hiding, and now she had to read it in order, in her own words, without twisting anything. She covered her face with both hands and finally broke down. Not from love and regret, from realization. She whispered, "James, please don't do this." But I was already heading toward the door. She tried to follow, but I held up a hand. "Read your messages," I said. "Face what you did before you try to rewrite it." I walked out. She didn't chase me. The apartment stayed silent behind me, and I wasn't done yet. I didn't go far. I stayed at a friend's place across town. I kept my phone on silent and watched her messages appear one after another. Long paragraphs, short apologies, missed calls, voicemails where she spoke softly and asked me to come home. I didn't reply. Silence became my first step. I wanted time to think, not to act out of anger. My goal wasn't drama or payback in the loud sense. I wanted consequences, the natural kind, the kind that unfold when someone loses what they took for granted. The second step came the next morning. She still had access to things I paid for, our shared streaming services, memberships, and the phone line I covered for months. I didn't rant about it. I didn't notify her. I simply removed her name from everything and transferred the bills back to her full amount. I updated the accounts slowly, one by one, shutting off the quiet comfort she'd relied on. Then I took care of the apartment. The lease had been in my name. She moved in later, and I never added her officially because she said she didn't like paperwork. At the time, I thought it was harmless. Now it worked in my favor. I called the landlord, explained I would be relocating for work, and requested the early termination process. No drama, just paperwork. I paid the small fee myself. I scheduled the final inspection date. She received the notice hours later. That's when the calls turned into panic. James, please don't end the lease. We can talk. I need time. But she had taken all the time she needed with someone else. Now this was mine. I didn't answer. My next move took a bit more planning. Her other man thought he had nothing to lose. He probably assumed I would stay quiet. He underestimated how calm a man can be when he's done caring. I forwarded him a single message. She told me you manipulated her. She called you unstable. I figured you should know what she says when you're not around. Nothing more. No insults. Just truth. He replied within minutes, asking for details. I sent him one screenshot, one of her calling me stability and him temporary fun. I didn't need to add commentary. His ego did the rest. By the afternoon, he blocked her. She didn't know it was me. She only knew he stopped answering. Later that night, she sent a voice message. Her voice sounded tired, almost worn out. She said she felt alone, that she made a mistake, and that losing both of us on the same day hurt more than she expected. I played it once. Then I deleted it. 2 days later, I returned to the apartment to collect the rest of my things. She was there, waiting on the couch, eyes red. She looked at me as if she didn't know where to start. Can we at least talk? She asked quietly. I nodded. But talking didn't mean staying. She tried explaining everything in a long stream. How she felt confused, how the feelings with him weren't real, how she panicked when she thought she'd lose me. I listened without interrupting. Not because I believed her, but because I wanted her to say every excuse out loud. I wanted her to hear herself. When she finished, I kept my reply simple. You didn't lose me because of him. You lost me because you made me the last person to know the truth. That line hit her harder than anything else. Her shoulders lowered, and she stared at the floor. She didn't try to hold my arm and reach out. She understood the finality. Before I left, I placed the keys on the counter. You'll need to move out before the inspection, I said. Take your time, but be done by next week. She nodded slowly. No yelling, just acceptance. As I walked out for the last time, she whispered, I'm sorry, James. I didn't turn around. I moved into a small place on the other side of the city. It wasn't fancy, but it felt peaceful in a way I hadn't felt in months. The silence didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt earned. For a while, I expected her to show up at my door or try something dramatic, but she didn't. She sent a few more messages, shorter each time. Apologies. Little updates saying she was working on herself. I kept them unread. About a week later, the landlord confirmed she had moved out. She left before the inspection. Clean break. No last-minute drama. I thought the story would end there, but karma has its own timing. A mutual friend reached out one afternoon. I didn't ask for updates, but he started talking anyway. He said she had been reaching out to people we knew, trying to explain what happened without revealing the truth. Everyone could tell something was off, but she wasn't giving details, just vague comments about miscommunication and complicated situations. People stopped asking her questions. They stopped inviting her to places, too. Not out of cruelty, just because nobody wants to be pulled into half-stories. Then the same friend mentioned something else. The guy she'd been seeing? He chose someone new within a week. He wasn't answering her calls. He even blocked her on every app. She tried visiting his place once, and he told her through the door that she needed to leave. The same man she risked everything for didn't even give her a single conversation after the truth came out. That was the first part of karma. The second came slowly. She had depended on me for more than she admitted. Subscriptions, rides, help with bills during rough months, even planning for her future. Without those things, life became more expensive, more inconvenient, more real. Again, not out of revenge, just consequences. Meanwhile, I focused on rebuilding my routine. I picked up old hobbies, reached out to people I had drifted from, cooked more at home, and made space for quiet. It didn't erase the betrayal, but it reminded me I wasn't broken. A few weeks later, I saw her name pop up on my phone again. A long message this time. She said she finally understood everything she had thrown away. She said she wished she could rewind the clock and choose differently. She said she hoped I could forgive her someday, even if we never spoke again. I read it once. That was enough. I didn't reply, not because I hated her, because I didn't need to continue the cycle. She already faced the truth. The man she chose over me didn't want her, her stories didn't hold up anymore, and the life she took for granted didn't exist without the effort I quietly put in every day. That's how karma usually works. Not dramatic, just consistent. Months passed. I saw her once at a grocery store. She noticed me, but didn't approach. She held her basket and waited for me to walk past. Her face didn't show anger. just a tired kind of acceptance. The look of someone who understood that apologies don't always fix things. As I walked out, I felt steady. No bitterness. No urge to confront her. Just closure. Some people think revenge means destroying someone's life. I don't. Sometimes, revenge is simply walking away and letting them live with the mess they created. I didn't ruin her world. I just stepped out of it. The rest unfolded on its own. So tell me, do you think I handled it the right way? Or should I have confronted them both more directly?